Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. So today is March 29th. And look at our schedule. We spent too much time on the previous chapters, so we are now behind schedule. What does that mean? This means you're gonna be super busy the remaining month. Every week you have 2 assignments or 2 quiz, or you have exam and an assignment together. This is because we have to cover all these topics, so you are prepared in like calculus 1 or applied calculus 1. So we're gonna increase our speed. Okay, so I hope everybody will arrive on time. And if you miss some minutes, please watch the recording to catch up. Okay, so I give you back the exam. So let's look at the exam scores. So at the bottom of our website, we can see the exam scores. And let me change to this. Okay, so yes, we have a big improvement on exam 2. The highest score is 100, and then the lowest score is 42. The average is 82.8. We have 7 students get over 90, and 2 students 80 to 90, 4 students between 70 to 80, and 1 student between 60 to 70, 1 student between 50 to 60, and 1 student 42. Okay, so like I said, we spent a lot of time on the previous two chapters. For the remaining sessions, we're gonna increase our speed, which means we might not able to cover all the examples in the worksheet as planned. So I will cover like one example from each type, but the extra examples, I hope you can try those at home. And on my website, I post the notes with answers. So you have the answer for all the examples. Is that the question?
You're still going to cover like every topic, though.
Yes, I will cover. I need to.
It's just less.
Less example. Less amount of examples.
There's like 3 people here.
Yeah. So I hope like students who missed a couple minutes can watch the recording to catch up. And I have already. Oh, Jeremy, come here. I'll pick up your exam. Oh, sure. Let me see. Is some here? Oh.
I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Don't let me forget.
It's fine. I have like 100. Seriously, it's fine.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
I
Okay.
appreciate it.
So I have already posted the exam 2 solution. Okay. So when you click that, you can see the solution, and like last time, you're gonna make corrections next to your mistakes. If you run out of space, you can make the correction on a piece of paper. Okay. And then after you finish, you go to the assignment, and it's called the self-assessment. Okay, the self-assessment, which is here. So you already turned in the practice exam 2, and this is the exam correction and exam wrapper. So exam correction is 5 points. Exam wrapper is 5 points. Let me take a yes. That's your exam and chapter 9 formula sheet. Everybody clear about that? Okay. So if you miss some like minutes, please watch the recording, because we are behind schedule. We're gonna increase our speed. And next week you have 2 assignments due. So you have 9.1 due on Monday, and the 9.2 and quiz 4 on Friday. Our plan today, we're gonna talk about 9.2, and then on Monday we'll finish 9.2 and start 9.3. So make sure you have the 9.3 worksheet on Monday. Okay? So 9.2. So 9.1, we talk about the trig identities, which is the one you already know from the hexagon, right? And you look at the formula sheet of this chapter.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So do you see the second page? We have a lot of formulas. All these formula you don't need to memorize. Okay? So for this chapter, you don't need to memorize like extra things. Do you see the first page is the same thing as at chapter 8? So that's the old things. So the new formula, you have the formula sheets. Okay? So you don't need to memorize it. You just know how to use the formula to solve problems. So 9.2, we talk about the sum and difference identity. So we have three set of formula. We have cosine, we have sine, and we have tangent. And then sum and difference angle. That's why you see a plus b or a minus b. Everybody clear? We're not gonna prove this formula because we don't have enough time. But if you're interested to see the proof, our online test book. Do you know we have an online test book? It's an OpenStat test book. So the online test book has a proof. And if you also want to know, feel free to come to see me in my office. I'm happy to prove that for you. Okay? So we are given this formula. And how do we use this formula to help us to solve problems? Okay, so these are the new ones. Yeah. You're welcome. All right, and do you still remember the coefficient identities? The coefficients and complementary angles. We learned this before. And the unit circle. Yep, everybody still remember the unit circle? Okay, so now how do we solve problems of this session? Step 1, if you see the angle in other quadrants, please use the reference angle to change it so that your trig function is plus or minus the trig function of the reference angle. And the sign plus or minus, it really depends on your trig function. Hi, Joe. Come and pick up your exam. Okay. All right. Everybody, look at this. We have 4 quadrants, 0 to 90 degree, 90 degree to 180 degree, and then to 270 degree and 360 degree. Do you remember those 4 quadrants? And each quadrant, theta is our angle. Theta prime is the reference angle. So the first quadrant, we see the reference angle equals to the angle, right? And second quadrant, do you see reference angle is the angle made with the terminal side and the x-axis, right? And we can see, we add them together, we get pi, or 180 degree, right? And then the third quadrant, do you see the theta minus the theta prime equals pi? Yes, do you all see that? So this is theta from here to here. And you minus theta prime, you get the pi. Can you all see that, everybody? And the fourth quadrant, we have, this is the theta prime, and you can see theta plus theta prime equals 2 pi, 360 degree. Do you all remember these? If you don't, yes, please come to my office. I can help you, to memorize this. And any trig functions of the angle is plus or minus, depending on the quadrant and of the trig functions of the reference angle. So we can use this to convert the angle within the first quadrant. And after we get to the angle in the first quadrant, we can then use the sum or difference formula, which is these 3 sets. Is sine or cosine or tangent? And do you have sum of angle or difference of angle? Okay, so you decide which one to use. And of course, you need to be familiar with this table again. Okay, so we have been practicing it a lot, right? I hope you can still remember. So let's look at this exercise. Cosine. By the way, find exact values in the Excel. So what we are doing right now is like before you have the calculator. What do you do without a calculator, right? So like remember like elementary school, you learn how to add numbers, how to multiply numbers, and then after you know that, you can use your calculator to help you to make the process faster. But you need to understand it first, then you can use the tools, right? So all these things, you need to show all the work and be able to do it without a calculator, right? So yeah, so do this when you do this problem. Don't just put this number in your calculator because why, right? So the purpose of this course is not use the calculator, is learn the process how you get this answer. Okay, so that's why in the exam you have to show all your work because otherwise you just fucking everybody can know how to fucking number, right? So you have to show all your work in order to receive credit. Okay, so we follow the step. Step 1. Simplify using the reference angle. Here we have the angle as minus 75 degrees. Okay, so first one, we simplify to the reference angle. Thank you. So draw the picture. Negative 75 degrees. Which quadrant it lies in? Fourth. And negative means it go clockwise 75 degrees. Right, everybody? So, therefore, the cosine negative 75 degrees is plus or minus cosine. What is the reference angle? The reference angle is the angle made with the terminal side and the x-axis. It is 75 degrees. And we're in quadrant 4. So the reference angle is 75 degrees. But it's plus or minus. Do you remember cosine in terms of x, y, r? What over what? X over r. Okay, in quadrant 4, your x is positive or negative? Positive. And your r is always positive. Therefore, x over r is positive. Is that okay, everybody? So we pick the positive. Okay, so this is how we figure out our angle, which quadrant, and then express it in terms of the reference angle. This is step 1. Now step 2. Okay, we get our answer equals cosine 75 degrees. Okay, now make sure 75 degrees is an acute angle. Now we want to express this as a sum or difference of our common angles.
30 plus 45.
Exactly. Right, everybody? 75 degrees is 30 degrees plus 45 degrees. So cosine 30 degrees plus 45 degrees. So here we want to relate to the common angle values. So this is the step 2. Realize The reference angle, because it's in between 0 and 90 degrees. So it's easier to see what's the relation between the common angle values. And we can see it's 30 degree plus 45 degree. And now, look at the formula, that page, okay? That formula sheet. Which formula do you use? Sine, cosine, tangent. The first one, the cosine, and it's plus, right, everybody? You all see that. By the way, for the students didn't come to class today, and hopefully you're watching the recording. I give you the formula sheet of chapter 9. Okay, so formula sheet of chapter 9. These ones is the same as chapter 8, so you still have them. But the new ones are all these somewhat different formula. Yeah, and here we're looking at the cosine A plus B is cosine A, cosine B minus sine A, sine B. So here, this is like A, and this is like B, right? So cosine A plus B is cosine A. What is A? 30 degree times what? Cosine B. B is 45 degree. And then minus sine A. A is 30 degree times sine 45 degree. Is everybody okay with that? All right. So after that, we can now use our value. What is cosine 30 degree? Root 3 over 2. Yes. We have root 3 over 2. And then how about cosine 45 degree? Root 2 over 2. Sine 30 degree? 1/2. Sine 45 degree. Root 2 over 2. Right, everybody? Okay. And don't plug in your calculator. This type of problem, when they say exact values, you don't want to get a decimal approximation, right? You want to keep the exact value. So that is what? Square root, what's 3 times 2? 6. And then minus square root of 2 over 4. Do you see the denominator the same? So we can combine the numerator. So this is the final answer. So in the exam, you have to show all your work. And next week, your quiz, you have some problem like this.
So,
Yes.
why can't we simplify the root 6 minus root 2 anymore?
You can factor out square root of 2, and you get square root of 2 times square root of 3 minus 1. But I would say you get all the points if you get like square root of 6 minus square root of 2 over 4.
I mean, why can't we simplify it to get root 4?
We can do that. So yes, 6 minus 2 is 4, but root 6 minus root 2 is not square root of 4.
Okay.
Yes, we cannot do that. Right, because this is not equal to square root of 6 minus 2.
Okay.
Yes, you can only combine the square root if it's a multiplication.
Okay.
Then you get square root of 6 times square root of 2. But if you have subtraction, you cannot combine them. Yeah, yes. Okay. Any questions about this problem? It's 2-step process. Okay. So like I said, because we are behind schedule, which means we cannot cover all the examples of this every type. So part B, I will let you to do at home, and I have answer on the website. Let's do part C. Okay, so do part C. Okay, first we want to simplify this to a reference angle. So it's plus or minus. And what is 11 pi over 12? Can you see here? This is like the it's almost it's like pi minus pi over 12. Are you able to see that? Because if your numerator is 11, if you have one more copy of the pi over 12, you get pi. Right. So this is it's a little bit smaller than pi. Therefore, is in quadrant 2. And then we know this part is 11 pi over 12. Therefore, the reference angle, what is the reference angle? Pi over 12. Can everybody see that? So our reference angle is pi over 12. So the tangent of 11 pi over 12 is plus or minus tangent of the reference angle. Is everybody okay with that? We learned this in section 7.4. The trig function of any angle is plus or minus the trig function of the reference angle. And it's plus or minus. Well, you need to look at the trig function. Tangent in terms of x, y, r. What over what? Y over x. Yeah, everybody? Because it's draw the picture. Right? So draw the picture. You have like here, this is x, this is the y, and your angle is what? The opposite over adjacent, right? So opposite is y, adjacent is x. So y over x. Yes, everybody? And in the second quadrant, your y is positive or negative? Positive. Your x is positive or negative? Negative. Ooh, how about y over x? Negative. Therefore, we take the negative. This is step 1. Okay? Express your the tangent in terms of the reference angle. So you make the angle smaller. Okay. And now, step 2. Okay, now step 2. Because we get minus tangent pi over 12. And now we're going to figure out what is pi over 12. It is 15 degrees. Yes? So you either do that, so you convert it to degree. And how to convert it to degree? You want to get rid of the pi, and you multiply by 180. So you get 180 over 12 is 15 degrees. Then 15 degrees, how do you relate it to the common angle values? Exactly. 45 minus 30. Right? This is one approach. Or if you are able to see, this is pi over 4 minus pi over 6. Then it's the same thing. Or it's also what? It's also pi over 3 minus pi over 4. Right? Or in terms of the degree, it's also 60 minus 45 degrees. So in this problem, there are different ways you can express your angle in terms of. Is that okay, everybody? Mm-hmm. All right, so you can pick which way you think is easier for you. If you're more familiar with the degree, you can convert it to degree, and then you can see the number, right? Okay, now let's pick one expression. Which one do you think is easier? Which one do you like? However, okay, good. So then it's negative, right? Because it's a negative there. And then you have an angle A minus angle B. Now, which formula do we use? Cosine, sine, tangent. We use tangent. Do we use sum or difference? Difference. Okay, we use difference. So keep this in mind. We have what? The top is tangent. A, what is A? Pi over 4. Look at the formula. Tangent A minus what? Minus tangent B. So minus tangent B, what is B? Pi over 6. Yeah, everybody? What's your denominator? The denominator 1 plus tangent A times tangent B. Is that okay, everybody? Yes. So you have the formula sheet in front of you and determine which one to use. Okay? So now, good. Look at that table. What is tangent? Pi over 4? Tangent pi over 4? 1. What is tangent pi over 6? 1 over radical 3. Denominator is 1 plus tangent pi over 4. 1 tangent pi over 6. 1 over radical 3. Is that okay, everybody? So, and please simplify your answer. We don't want to see fraction in the fraction. So what do is you can multiply the top and bottom by square root of 3. Because this will carry out the denominator. Is that okay, everybody? You can multiply the top and bottom by square root of 3. So the effect is like you're multiplying by 1. You're not changing, the expression is still equal. Okay? Now we distribute. So we got, what's on top? Root 3 minus 1. Right? Because root 3 over root 3 is 1. How about the denominator? Root 3 plus 1. Is that okay, everybody? Yeah. So you can leave your answer like this. You don't have to rationalize your denominator. Yeah. I would say leave it there. That is good for this problem. Everybody clear? 2 steps. Okay. You convert the angle into the reference angle, and then you use the sum or difference formula. So what happened if you have, so we have the sum or difference formula for sine, cosine, and tangent. If you have other trig function, for example, secant is 1 over cosine. So you can use the cosine formula to get an answer, and then you look at the reciprocal. Okay, good. All right. Look at part D. Look at part D. Don't use your calculator, okay? Look at part D and compare with the formula. Which formula is cosine plus sine? Cosine. The difference formula. So you like this is A, this is B, this is A, this is B. This is the cosine A minus B. Yeah, everybody? By comparing the formula. And what is A? 173. And what is B? 83. Ooh, what is 173 minus 83? 90 degree. And good, right? What is cosine 90 degree? 0. Yeah, it's right here. Cosine 90 degree is 0. Okay? So yeah, this problem is you look at the formula and you look at the right hand side and figure out which formula to use. And plug in the angles and simplify. Everybody clear? So in the exam, you have to show all your work in order to receive credits. Because all of this you can plug in calculator and get the answer. But I want you to show your work. You know, like a couple years before, when we give student exams, we have two parts. One part is student cannot use calculator. The other part is student can use the calculator. This semester, I just let you to use your calculator all the time, but you have to show all the work. Okay, show me you know how to do it. Is that clear? You can use your calculator to check your answers so you know whether you're doing right or wrong. But the goal is you be able to do it without a calculator. Okay, yes. And now the next problem. Find the angle that satisfies each of the following. Okay, in this type of functions, we can use the. Do you realize the cofunction? So cofunction, we use the cofunction identity. The cofunction equals to the complementary angle. Is that okay, everybody? And do you still remember why this is true? For example, maybe I just do one to show you one. Let's say this is the angle A, and then let's say this is the opposite, and this is the adjacent. This is the hypotenuse, and then the sine A is what? Opposite over hypotenuse, right, everybody? But then when you look at the complementary angle, that is 90 degrees minus 8. Do you agree, everybody? For the complementary angle, this is actually the opposite. If you have two different color pen, you can write it down. If you don't have two different color pen, then don't write it down. Otherwise, they're not the same. Yeah. So then now, can you see the opposite is actually the adjacent of the complementary angle, and the hypotenuse is still hypotenuse. Now, adjacent over hypotenuse is the cosine. So therefore, cofunctions and the complementary. Is that okay, everybody? So this is the cofunction identity. Now, come back to our exercise. We want to find the theta satisfy the following. Then you know cosecant 60 degree is secant of the complementary angle. And what is the complementary angle? another angle here. Complementary angle 90 degree minus that equals 28. Yes. See? Find an angle satisfy that. So we can let theta be 28 degree. There could be more than one answer. The problem just say find one angle that works. You don't need to find all angles that work. Okay? Can you do part B? Everybody trying to do part B.
Plus is equal. It's negative.
It's negative. Yes, it's negative.
It will be plus is equal.
What do you mean?
It's only minus or y.
Oh yes. So, okay. There's one, you can simplify the negative first. Do you remember the negative angle identities? Who are hungry and eat the minus sign? Cosine and secant, right, everybody? So, which means, if you see cotangent, will that eat the minus sign? No. So it's negative cosine 54 degree, right? But you can keep it like that. And then you can use tangent, 90 degree minus the angle is negative 54 degree. Yes, so it is 90 degree plus 54 degree. Oh yeah. The angle could be negative minus. And what is that? Is 144. Yes. And you can see this angle is in the second quadrant. And and it's negative. It makes sense. Because in the second quadrant it's negative. Right? Because the y is positive, but the x is negative. So your tangent is negative. Yeah, so we can also let theta be 144. So far, so good, everybody? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it turns out we do it together. It's okay. So, example 3. The following problems are examples of the reduction formula. Okay, so like this type of problems, you kind of look at the problem and then follow the instruction. Let's do part B together because the A, B, C are similar. Let's do one of them. Okay, let's do part B. So you have sine A minus B. Which formula do you use? The sine A minus B. Okay, everybody? Alright, so we see sine A minus B is what? Sine A, what is A? 270 degree and times cosine B, B is theta. Then minus cosine A 270 degree times sine B theta. Is everybody okay with that? We have this formula. Use this formula. Plug in A is 270 degrees and B is theta. Okay, everybody? Yes. Okay, but now what is 270 degree? I I like to use the trig graphs if it's over the first quadrants, more than the first quadrants. This is the sine, and that's the cosine, right? And 270 corresponds to 3 pi over 2. Yes, everybody? Mm-hmm. What? This is 0. 90 is pi over 2. 180 is pi. 270 3 pi over 2. And then the 2 pi. So, okay, sine 3 pi over 2 is minus 1. That's why I said, oh, remember those formula and the trig graphs? Those are like the foundation. How about cosine of 3 pi over 2? 0. Can everybody see it's 0? So minus 0 times sine theta. The answer is negative cosine theta. So these 7 problems, you use the formula. And then there is some angle value. You can know the number. You can plug in the number and simplify it. Is that clear, everybody? Okay, good. So part A and part C is similar. You just use different formula. Okay, but the method are the same. Okay, so save that and continue. Okay, so let's see example 4. I would say that this is the longest problem of this session. Okay. Suppose cosine S is 15 over 17 and sine T is negative 24 over 25. And S and T are both in quadrant 4. And we want to find the cosine S minus T. Okay, so this is a 3-step process. So I would say divide this space into 3 parts. Okay, the first part, you know the cosine S. And because you want to know the cosine of the difference, so you actually need to know cosine S, sine S, cosine T, and sine T. Okay, everybody? So, yeah. So the first step, given the cosine S, we can refine the sine S. Step 2, given the sine T, can we find the cosine T? After we get all those 4 numbers, we can then use the difference formula for cosine to plug it in. And then this part, we actually did that before, like in chapter 7. So what do? Because it's in quadrant 4. So yeah, step 1 is in quadrant 4. So your angle is like here. You have your X and your Y and your R. And cosine S is 15 over 17. What's cosine S in terms of X, Y, and R? X over R. Because it's the adjacent over the hypotenuse. Do you still remember this from chapter 7? Yes. And now, because it's in the quadrant 4, you see, this quadrant 4, we know the X is positive or negative? Positive. The Y is negative. And the R is always positive. Yeah. X is positive, Y is negative. And now you let the X be 15. And we let the R be 17. So far, so good, everybody? how do you find the y? You see x squared plus y squared is r squared. How do you find the y? Yeah, plus or minus square root of r squared minus x squared. We move the x squared to the right, so r squared minus x squared. And then when you take square root, you get plus or minus. So plus or minus square root of r squared, 17 squared minus x squared, which is 15 squared. So what is 17 squared minus 15 squared? Yeah, you can use your calculator. 64. Ooh, what's square root of 64? Good, 8. Everybody? We get 8. And because, okay, yeah, because theta, all right, S is in quadrant 4. The y is negative. Therefore, we pick the negative. Y is negative 8. Right. So now you can find all the trig values. And we just need to know sine. So what is sine? X, Y, R in terms of y over r. And y is negative 8 over 17. Is that okay, everybody? So this part is similar to what we did before in chapter 7. And there are a lot of variations. Instead of cosine, I might give you any trig function. I might give you cotangent. What is cotangent then? X over y. Yeah, everybody? So if I give you cotangent, and then you get x over y, and then you find the r, right? And then you can also find other trig functions. Right? Or maybe I can give you cosecant, right? What is cosecant? 1 over sine. Yeah, everybody? Cosecant, 1 over sine. And then sine is y over r, so cosecant is r over y. And then you can also find all the other trig functions. Okay, everybody? So let's see. Here, this is step 1. And let's see step 2. Okay, step 2. We have the sine t. Okay. And is in quadrant 4 again. So we have x, y, r, same picture, right? But sine t is negative 24 over 25. What is sine in terms of x, y, r? Y over r. Ooh, what do you let y to be? Yes, negative 24. How about the r? 25. Right, everybody? Oh, how do you find the x? Plus or minus square root of, good, r squared minus y squared. And the r squared is 25 squared. The y squared is negative 24 squared. Right, everybody? So we get, put this in your calculator. Square root of 49. Oh, yes. Oh, it turns out we get nice number. And tell me your positive. Good. Okay, because in quadrant T in quadrant 4, x is positive, so x is 7. What do we need? Cosine t. What is cosine t in terms of x, y, r? X over r, 7 over 25. Good. Okay, let's continue. Next class. So next class, please print out 9.3. Okay? Yes. Have a nice weekend. And please do your homework about 9.1. It's due Monday. Uh-huh. Yeah, we'll be so busy the remaining month. Every week you have 2 assignments due. And maybe more quiz or exams.
But opposite adjacent and hypotenuse for the x, y, and r.
Oh, sure.
Because the opposite adjacent and hypotenuse makes a lot more sense to me than the x, y, and r.
Oh, yes. Sure.
Sorry.
Oh, yes.
So you did the final exam on the 8th of May.
Yes.
But that day I leave.
You leave?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to take the exam early?
Can I take it?
Monday?
Oh, Monday.
Okay, email me.
Okay. Thank you.
So from here
Mhm.
all the way up until the 28th, I will be in Texas for a competition in school. So I believe my coach should send you but we won our regionals, so we're going on to nationals.
Yes, good
So
job.
thank you. So I won't be here from the 24th to the 25th.
So do you want to take the quiz before you leave?
I'm thinking I might have to because
Yeah.
and I mean this is rough because I am spending so much time just trying to prepare for this national competition. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, 3 exams in 1 month is a lot. That's too much, especially because I have a lot of other classes and I also have the team as well. And I'm also starting an organization here. And I also volunteer for places. This is a lot.
Yeah. But the good thing is you can use the final to replace the lowest.
Yeah, but it's the final that's the problem. So, because like this and this, that's all right. If this was the final, then that'd be good. But 1, 2, 3. So you study for this one. So this, let's say you take a couple days to do this. So let's say you take just Monday to study for this. Okay, well that's your Monday gone. Possibly Tuesday too. There you go. Okay, well I have a competition here and I have a whole bunch of stuff I have to do. Well, this week was for exam 4, but more than that, also final exam.
Yeah.
So it's just there's a lot of overlapping stuff there, and so then it's like, how do I study for it? And I don't have any time to study for it. Like for example, exam 2, I studied the night before. That was it. So that is all the time I had. And I understand it's like, I'm not the only person in the class. There are many other people here, but we all play sports. So the unfortunate thing is it's like this tech makes this, right? Because tech has a schedule. Because I know that a lot of professors, they have no say in all of this.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking, how can this be made a bit easier for future classes? Because that's a lot. But I know you have to cover so much too.
Yes. The problem is we spend too much time on the first 2 chapters.
Yeah.
If you look at the old schedule, it will be better. But because we spend too much time, because I want the students to understand. We don't want to rush. I want to.
If you don't understand the first 2, you can't.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's
Right.
just like I'm a little.
And because before we don't have like exam 4, we just 3 exams and final. But I want the student to have like opportunity to do more exams, and the percentage of each exam is smaller. Like exam 4 only covers 3 sessions: 10.1, 10.2, and 10.8.
Yeah, that's what
only
you were
3
saying
sessions.
last time.
So the exam is easier. You have
Okay.
you should especially learn that.
So then, if you do really poor on the final exam, you
Yeah.
have another exam that you can do well on. That makes sense, but I'm almost wondering, like, what if you could reduce the amount of score that you push? Because a lot of the exams, it's like 50% of your grade, right? That's a lot to put on as exams, and a lot of people don't test well. And I'm wondering, maybe is there like an alternative way to test people's knowledge? Like, for example, my exam 2, I showed that I understood it, but I couldn't remember some of the stuff. So it's like, yes, I understand, which is the point, of the class, and that was factored in, but I couldn't remember the specific things. I don't test well. So yeah,
I
yes,
give you
understand.
the sheet in class and I give you like practice.
But I'm wondering, is there a way to test your understanding of something outside of an exam that might be able to
Like
make this
homework.
easier?
Probably maybe next semester I will increase the homework percentage and lower the exam.
That's what I'm thinking.
Increase the homework percentage.
If you're able to do that, because my thought is like, okay, well, again, it's a lot of exams, and it can be really stressful to be like, okay, well, if I fail this exam, I might fail the class because there's like a tiny little percent, for the homework. It's like what the homework's like, was it 5 or 10%?
That's 10%.
10%. So that's 10%.
Yeah.
Whereas your exams are 80, so you could just not do any of the homeworks on any of the exams. You can still get 80. You did 100% on all the others.
It is hard.
Or it is hard. Like someone could do that. Whereas if you like increase it just a little bit, then it's like, okay, well, you're shifting it more on, okay, now we want to do the homework. So you don't want to skip any of them because then it's more of a percent of your grade. And then by doing that, you're going to get a better grade on your exams because you understand it because you had to do your homeworks. That's my thought.
So will you come back here? You come back here?
What was that?
You say your competition.
Yeah. So I'll be back. I'll be back on the 28th. So before Monday.
Okay.
So
So
I will be
do you
available.
want to take it later so you have more time to study for it and watch the recording for
Yeah, I
the
think-
lesson you missed?
I mean, that would be very helpful.
Yeah. So then email me so you can like reschedule to. But you can take it on Thursday because the last day I
This is
have
very
to.
important.
I have to give the exam back to them on that day because they don't see me after it. So you can take it on Thursday.
I was just thinking, like, especially because this is a very important competition, I need to focus on this.
Yeah.
Because Microsoft's going to be there, all these big companies are going to be there, and I have to focus because if I do well, I get a job. So
Hopefully we can drop 2 quizzes
yes.
and we can drop 2 homework assignments.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and you can use the final to replace the lowest
Yeah,
exam.
okay.
So with those policies, you
I can do well.
just not take them and prepare for the
Yeah,
final.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Mhm.
That's one of the main things. It's like
Yeah.
it's a lot, but at least it's fair.
Mhm.
At
Right.
least whenever you're doing it, because I was really surprised when I saw my grade for exam 2. I was like, oh, this is really fair.
Mhm.
I looked through it and I was like, oh, I understand it. Even though I didn't do this or this,
Yeah.
you understand that I understand it. I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a nice day.
Good luck with that. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so let's see. Yeah, they're gonna be very busy. Uh-huh. The last month is always very busy. Okay.